Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So not that long ago, it was years ago actually, I don't know why I said that, I did a video and it was something like you're using it wrong, and I basically went through products, everyday products that people are using that I see they use slightly wrong or they could use better, basically. So I wanted to create almost like a series of these videos. So I want to do one for the face, one for the eyes, a skincare one, something like that. So I basically want to go through techniques that you can do to improve on what you're doing already. These may be things you already know, and they may be, you know, what I say you shouldn't do might work for you. Again, everyone's skin is different, everyone's technique is different. These are things that I see people do, and from things people have asked me that I see people do wrong. First of all though, before we get into this, who am I to say what is right and wrong? Well, I'll tell you. For those of you who don't know, my name is Robert. I'm a professional makeup artist of almost 11 years now. So I kind of have a few tricks up my sleeve, and I want to share that here with you guys on YouTube. And my goal here is to make you guys a professional as well. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. So let's get into this video today. So one thing that I see all the time, and this always happens with skincare, and it always happens with foundation, anything with a pump, anything with a little dropper, when people squeeze a product directly onto their face when they're doing their foundation. Now, there's nothing really wrong about this in terms of hygiene or in terms of anything like that. However, if you do have a drop and it touches skincare and you put it into your foundation, chemical things can happen, but that's a completely different thing. For me, this is more a thing about texture, coverage, and wastage, basically. Most foundations are designed to use 1 or 2 pumps for the whole face. Even full coverage foundations, 1 pump, because the formula is made thicker, it's made to cover more, so you still don't need that much. So when I see people dripping product onto their face and using this as their foundation and just blending it everywhere, it's just awful. It's just the biggest waste of time. You're gonna get a really cakey finish, you're gonna waste your product, and you're gonna have to replace that product quicker, especially if you spend 30 to 40 to 50, 60, 70 pounds on a foundation. You want to control how much you are using. So on sanitized hands, 1 or 2 drops of foundation, and then add more as you go. There's no need to drop it all over the face. That is not a good way to measure your product usage, if that makes sense. If you like doing this and it works for you, same with everything, then please let me know in the comments below. If you have any more tips, then please let me know in the comments below. Let's move on to the next one. So this kind of leads on from that one, and I see a lot of people do this with brushes as well. They cover their whole face in their foundation and then they blend, or then they use their brush. This again is huge wastage, and this is really something, again, technique-wise, that you shouldn't be doing. You should be starting your foundation from the middle of the face. The cheeks and the nose and the chin, and maybe even the center of the forehead if you have things like acne, are the areas where we need the most coverage. So using that product in the middle of the face and then blending outwards, be it with a beauty blender or a brush, is what you should be doing. If you're using the product all around here and all around here and then blending it inwards, you're gonna get an uneven coverage. Even if you like full coverage, start from the middle and blend outwards, because that way you're gonna get the most coverage where you actually need it. So my next little thing is this brush here. So this is a foundation brush, obviously, and I kind of feel sorry for him because a lot of people have forgot he exists, and a lot of people use this for face masks, things like that. I believe this is used wrong by a lot of people. So I'm just gonna say how I use this brush, and if you have one of these, how you can make more use out of it. Yeah, because I guess like, yeah. So a lot of people use the flat surface here and move the product around the face. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're using this brush. You're just moving the product around the face. So what I like to do with this brush is use the edge just here. Hold it against the face and just gently flick in little motions like this. You're gonna get more of a blend that way. I would always follow up with a big powder brush with no powder on, or a beauty blender, just to make sure it's extra blended. But by using this and dragging it around the face, you are literally moving foundation from one area of the face to the other. You're not actually blending it into the face. It's literally like, oh, now I'm gonna move it here, now here, now here. You're moving the product around. So try using this brush. If you have any at home that are just sitting there kind of wasting away, covered in face mask, you know, give it a clean and try flicking on the skin. So good, really quick application as well. So this is something I wasn't aware that people are still getting wrong. Beauty blenders like this is a beauty sponge, and you know, every single beauty and beauty blenders in general, guys, you have to use these damn. You don't have to, but you know, No, you kind of do. Again, like I said before with a brush, if you are using this, patting onto your face is nice like this, that's absolutely fine. But I see people dragging, again, with a dry beauty blender. There's absolutely no benefit in dragging a sponge around your face. A sponge will pick up that product and move it around the face. That's all it does. But once you dampen a beauty sponge or a beauty blender, you're gonna notice it almost doubles in size. And when you kind of wring it out and start to bounce on the face, you get so much more of a nicer, natural blend. So try it dampening your sponge, wring out any excess, and just bounce along the face instead of dragging it around, because you're gonna get no benefit from that at all. So here's my last little one for you guys. It's highlighter and bronzer. So I see a lot of people, and I love highlighter and I love bronzer. I think highlighter looks amazing, bronzer looks amazing, contour looks amazing, but sometimes we can get muddy with it and we can kind of get this grey tone. So to me, this is an issue of placement of product. So bronzer is obviously around the face here, around the jawline, down the edges of the nose, through the eye sockets, wherever you want to put it. So when you're wearing highlighter, you need to keep your placement of bronzer and highlighter separate, because you're literally mixing a highlight texture and a kind of terracotta or bronze tone together, and it's gonna make grey, basically. It's gonna make a grey muddy tone. So when you highlight this area here, you actually need to take it a little bit higher. So when you're doing your cheeks with your bronzer, just make sure you're carving out the cheekbone. With your highlighter, even if you want a really strong glow, only highlight the areas of the face, especially the cheekbone, that capture light. So you're still gonna have this amazing, intense highlight, but you're keeping those two products away from each other. You don't want to blend your highlight into your bronzer. So do your bronzer first, because that's what gives us that grey or even that muddy tone and texture. So you almost want to apply your bronzer first in very precise places, and then again apply your highlighter again in very precise places. So guys, that was my very quick "you're doing it wrong" video. So again, if anything I've said goes against your beliefs or your technique and you love what you're doing, then stick with what you're doing. But as makeup artists, we keep learning from each other. So I do hope that any of my tips or any of my tricks have helped you guys out. Leave any tips and tricks below for me and to share with everyone else below as well. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe and all that stuff, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.